Hello, this is Don Hall at Don Hall Works YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to talk about thermocouples, how they work, and if you have a kiln and you use it, sooner or later, it's going to need a new thermocouple. And we're going to go through it step by step, how to replace your thermocouple and how they work a little bit. Okay, let's look at the inside of this kiln here. This is a thermocouple, and you notice that at the end of it there's this two wires that come out of there connected together, and it's all kind of getting corroded, and what happens, it starts to disintegrate at some point depending on how long you've used your kiln, how many times and how hot you've used your kiln. And as it disintegrates, it drops parts of it off onto the kiln shelf or onto your work, depending on where it's situated. So I'm going to go ahead and change my thermocouple out now and put a new one in. I have double checked to make sure that the power has been disconnected. I'm just going to remove these 3 screws here to reveal the thermocouple that needs to be replaced. This right here is the thermocouple. First thing I'm going to do to remove the thermocouple is I'm going to undo these 2 wires here. I undo these 2 screws and remove it. Now I'm going to remove these 2 screws here that hold the thermocouple to this metal shield here. And out it comes. Here you can see the 2 rods from the thermocouple, how they're attached to this bracket. I'm going to remove these 2 screws and take those metal rods out of there. Takes a couple of turns and out it comes. Let's take a minute to look at this and see how it works. Notice there's a red wire and a yellow wire, and the red wire is hooked to it looks like a bronze or copper piece of metal, and the other side is a shiny metal, maybe some kind of a steel alloy, whatever. And what happens is this end heats up, and the heat transfer is down here, and it creates an electrical charge. And the computer inside of your kiln can determine the temperature by the difference between the electrical charge from the copper to the steel. And basically that's how this thing works. Okay, let's put the new thermocouple into the bracket here. Notice that the copper colored one goes into the minus side, and once it is on there snugly, I'll just tighten up these 2 screws and we're ready to insert it back in. Now I'm going to install it back in, the new one, carefully. You don't want to break anything. There's a lot of soft bricks in there. It's a matter of finding the right spot for the screw so you can tighten it up nicely. The last thing we're going to do here is reattach the wires. Now these wires, sometimes they get over because they've been shoved in and removed several times. Sometimes they get a little funky. I'm going to just clean up this a little bit and then stick them in the hole and tighten down these 2 screws, and it's just a matter then of putting it back together again, and it should be ready to go. New thermocouple is installed. Got a couple of pieces ready to fire. Well, seems to be working fine. I hope you learned a little bit, and if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel at Don Hall Works YouTube.